Waters, Payne, Brown, Feeney, Hill and Mostert have all been winners this season. Can Thomas Randall add his name to the list as we get set to go racing in Tasmania? And jumping away from the line, both of the boys had a bit of wheel spin. Brock immediately closes off the gap to make sure no Marauder gets down the inside, and he holds sway in second position with Brown arguing the case, who also drops back into third. Waters in behind him, glanced the fence, but Randall has got a boomer of a start and fresh air on the run to turn 2. 3.
Beautiful, wasn't it, Neil? Hardly any wheel spin, and he didn't even have to block. Has he run wide? Oh my God, he only just got away with that. He didn't need to block, but he almost ran off.
That was very close for Thomas Randall, and it's such a hard thing to do on a cold tyre down there as LeBrock argues the case. So he almost gave away the margin that he earned in the first few gear changes, Thomas Randall. As he makes his way up the back straight for the very first time, he's already got big pressure from Feeney, so that gap has completely collapsed. Brown drops into third, as I said, and then in fourth position we've got Waters. Jackson Evans has moved up a spot. He's come up into seventh position. Somebody's making it out for the weeds in the wilderness there. And it was one of the Premier cars. I think it was Golding.
Yep. This is on because Feeney's put pressure on to that gap. And Feeney tries to dive down the inside, trying just to get the car alongside him enough to execute the side draft, and not quite able to do it.
Graphic illustration of two very different approaches. Brock using the gap on the inside, makes for the tighter radius. He's getting the benefit of the draft. He'll have a look down the inside at 6. Thomas is a wake up, and then he gradually eases himself back to the middle of the road to make it a big block of Castrol in the way. Great shot on board, looking back through turn 7. Car's fully on the slide there, totally grip limited as they go through that gear shift from third to fourth, and the car wants to jump sideways, and remembering they've still got a cooler tyre on there at the moment, so it's a handful. Shot from the start, and well, it was interesting that pretty cool manoeuvre there from Brock to be able to drop back in and get in behind Thomas to protect himself. He had to check himself up. He didn't get the jump he wanted, so therefore he goes and fills that hole, and that's his teammate up on the outside. Tiny little bit of contact, the two of them, as they're trying to give each other some racing room, but at the same time make progress and also fend off an aggressive Cam Waters in the background. How's the margin though that Randall got? And this is where he got in a bit deep on the cold tyre.
He battled to make this corner. He really did. You could see how far he was into the braking area, and that gap just basically vanished, didn't it?
And I had the ears up then to see whether or not there was any lock brake, but I think he just ended up overshooting rather than locking up down there. He was right on the verge. View from Cam Waters' car. Feeney just closes off that hole, and Will Brown up on the outside. Tiny little bit of rub between the two of them. Quarter of a second, and it's actually tightening up a little bit from second to third, so Will's just got a little bit closer now to the lead group. He can turn this into a trio. So this is what Mark was talking about. So Thomas is just making sure that he parks that thing in an awkward place, which of course is exactly what Brock doesn't want, and he's had a big lunge down the inside, and we're right with him side by side, and he's looking for the benefit of the side draft, and he might actually execute that now. He is close enough to be able to get this done, and how is that for a slingshot? And he has now cleared him through turn 5 and then closes off that margin in the braking area down here at 6. But he's got the tight approach in here now, so he wears the front bumper. And have a look up the inside for Brown now, who turns what was first for Randall into third in a heartbeat.
Well, he had the best seat in the house for that move with Brock Feeney. He's almost outbraked himself. Gee, he was in a stack of trouble then over the hill at turn 1 into turn 2. But we had the best seat then because Feeney speared down the inside, made a little bit of contact with Thomas, and that gave him the side draft, that gave him the run, and then put him on the inside for turn 6. And then the capitalisation was that his teammate got down the inside off turn 6 into turn 7. Check this out, Bunnings Trade power pass. Watch this, turns it down. Very narrow, little bump, just went out of shot slightly, and then bang, he's alongside. They have a little bit of dodgem car stuff in the first part of the straight, but as you go round the right-hand kink, It puts Brock Feeney on the inside for turn 6.
And the biggest gain there was the very initial part of that execute, right here. So we're going to see exactly what's happened from this turning point. He almost got the car, in fact, he did momentarily in front. Once he had that much of the car up there, that was the bit that made the difference, that then allowed him the opportunity to get the benefit of the aerodynamic assistance that's being provided by the two cars in those positions, the side draft. So it's a 0.4 margin now, Feeney over Brown. Thomas Randall, who led the initial laps, has dropped back into third position, and he's just in front of his teammate Cam Waters.
He's battling away now. Just in behind that group in front. Oh, we were talking about that.
No.
Bang.
Awkward. So that's not what Bill Davison's looking for, and unfortunately that's cost him a massive amount of time. And when you give away that,
Yeah, good. Not racing.
when you give away that level of time here, you're just not going to get it back. So Corley gives him a thump, and the umpire will have something to say about that, no doubt.
Well, I was just giving him a rap for qualifying in the next, but that was effectively what Kostecki did to Ryan Wood earlier today in qualifying. This is on board now with Will, so just getting it stopped back to first, and then bang. And it's only about 55 kilometres an hour, but that level of force. And the cars are very unstable right at the end of the braking area.
We're on board here with Brock up into turn 6. A few little wavy bumps on the braking approach into this turner as they lay up at the Red Bull Ampol Racing team in readiness for what we think would be our race leader. And in he comes. Approach the pit lane, speed limit of 40 kilometres an hour.
Mate, you do have a clear run into your pit, mate. Do not come across too early.
So important stop, and an important stop also for the strategy. What do they do? Do they do rears? Do they do the loaded side?
Now, mate. Centre on the board, please.
Mark Dutton,
Beautiful.
car controller.
Make sure you got a gear. Standing
Doing
right.
Well,
Go,
so that's
go.
probably unexpected.
Absolutely.
That clearly costs you a little bit more time, particularly with the gun configuration in these races, but what that does is gives him a nice little grip birthday. So this is intriguing, isn't it?
He almost went off then, coming out of the pit, because he was on 4 cold tyres and almost dribbled off onto the dirt coming out of turn 2. And then what he's got, Bud, is he's got real track position here that's completely clear. This is wild, because Brown doesn't want to mess around here, but the other bloke's got 4 fresh tyres on. And does Brown stay there? No, he doesn't. Actually, he come out of the brake slightly and parked in behind him. He knows that with Stanaway on 4 fresh tyres, he's got to come in, he's got to get out of the way. Now, how much ground has Randall made as a consequence? Huge gains there for Thomas Randall. And what a stop. Have a look at the stop time for Brock Feeney, 5.6 seconds for 4 tyres.
We're riding with Brock, who's going very quick at the moment. He's got the fastest lap of the race and potentially yield him 5 bonus points, making a heap of brake bias adjustments on the run down the back straight to turn 6. Brown and Randall line astern. Thomas peels out. 4.
It's got it. There's got to be a drama there with Will Brown's stop. Had to be a drama there by plenty, because he's 100 metres behind. So we didn't see the last part of it. All we saw was the exit for Randall, who was able to capitalise on the mistake there from the Red Bull Ampol Racing team.
Let's check out the stop.
Oh, that's actually, it was on the wheel still. That's what, obviously,
Yeah.
Larko saw a drama with the right front. That's what it was. So had to drag him back.
Well, that explains all the time that you were wondering about.
Got him.
Randall up to second position. Nice work, turn 6.
Still a good result for forward. If he just puts his head down now and hangs there with Thomas, with 13 laps remaining, he'll end up on the podium. That's Cam Waters in behind, so Cam will be trying everything to bridge that gap, but he's 3.1 seconds away from Bryce. So Bryce needs to now just make sure that he doesn't lose contact with Thomas Randall, put some really good laps together. Don't challenge Randall, don't slow each other up. Just get on with it, be line astern, and don't get hurt by the lap pace.
1 lap to go at the end of this one.
One lap to go, as you can hear there. Feeney, masterful performance today. Great job by the team. Superb pace, new lap record, and has a 7.5 second lead. Oh, ouch. Wheel to wheel there with Cooper Murray and Matt Payne.
That's hurt Cooper. He's dropped a few spots in the process with this as well. So just interlocking and does a big bunny hop in the process. Nasty. All right, I've got half a lap to go now for Brock Feeney. This has been a beautiful drive for him. And when he closes this deal in just a couple of moments, it becomes career victory number 14 for Brock Feeney and the second for him in 2025. And he's done that with ease. Beautiful job today. Low heart rate victory. Thomas Randall coming home in second place, and he'll be pretty happy with that one. And yeah. So Randall forward, Waters and Brown, and then Wood, Evans, Kostecki, Golding, and Courtney getting into the top 10 at the end of this. And there's James ahead of an angry pack. So he got there in the end.
He got there in the end, but I don't know whether he's going to be able to drive it back to the pit. That's how empty it is.
Yeah. So congratulations to Brock Feeney. He gets home by a whopping 8 seconds. You don't see those margins terribly often in sprint racing. So Feeney over Randall, and then a couple of seconds back to Brycey forward, and then Waters hanging on for fourth position over Will Brown, which when you consider what happened to him in the pit lane is probably not a bad result in many respects.